Hi, it's Karen, the Weekend Craftaholic, and I have finished my prep for December Daily 2020. Before we get stuck in the flip through though, I wanted to say stick around for the end. I have got 3 bloopers to show you. 3 foundation pages that turned out to be a whole hot mess. So I'll show you those at the end if you want to stick around for that. And I wanted to show my foundation pages with you. So I've gone with the same format as last year. If you saw my video yesterday, you will recognise these acrylic covers from the Stamp Spot. I absolutely love this style because I can make it as fat as I want without being restricted by pockets. And look already how much I have got in there without even documenting. So I wanted to give you a quick flip through. Hopefully you'll get some ideas for yours if you're still in the midst of prepping. Of course, it's around the corner, not many more days left to Christmas, and I think we are all hanging out for it this year. It's been a tough year for everyone, and yeah, Christmas is going to be a welcome celebration, hopefully for many of us. Let me talk you through my December Daily. Now, before we get to the album, I want a quick refresh and let you know that I'm using this uniquely creative Once Upon a Christmas collection. And I've got lots of scraps here still to work on when I do my pages. There we go, that's what I wanted to show you. A little idea of what the design looks like. Now there is quite a bit of red in here, which I've tried to keep to a minimum because I do like a blue Christmas. I have to say though, this particular shade of red has drawn me in, so I may even go out of character and do a red one next year, who knows. But this particular collection I absolutely adore. I've teamed it up with some of these KaiserCraft pieces as well, so I'll put a link to my craft haul if you wanted to see a little bit more about that. That is from the, let me have a look, Whimsy Wishes collection, if you like the looks of that. But what I've done, these are all the cut apart sheets from the Whimsy collection. This is lots of fussy cutting that I've done from the 6x6 pads or the 12x12 pads, and I did buy the creative cuts as well, so some of them are already done obviously, and yeah, a little bit more fussy cutting here. So I've separated them into kind of images and sentiments in here. I'm using my really useful box again, hopefully you can see that. That's just to keep everything in, and it comes with this really great lid where you can section things off. So I've got lots of different bits. So again, I've got some more of the ephemera and stuff. I've separated out things from the creative cuts or the fussy cutting, as you can see here. And I've also got some leftover snowflake collection ones, which I may not use. A lot of these were from last year, like the ribbon and so on. This is where I've separated all the gift tags, and I also bought the confetti mix as well. I haven't used that yet because I got a very special sequin mix from the Stamp Spot, made especially for this collection. Not a lot of it left. You'll see why. I'm going to show you what I've created already. Okay, let's get stuck in. That's the background. So this album, very similar to the one I did last year in terms of size. Let me have a quick measure. Yep, about 7 by 8 inches. And a lot more kind of cut filey stuff than last year because now of course I've got my Cricut machine. So I just did this on my Cricut machine. I've got the glitter paper underneath, and then I have just kind of double backed it as well just to kind of hide that. This was part of the collection as well that I got, this kind of outline thing. These were stars from last year, and I've just done a little bit of embellishment for my front page. You can see how adorable are these cute little animals. This is going to be my reason why. So at the moment it's just a little envelope pocket that I've made. So we're all going to write on gift tags, and I'll keep them in here. Just use the brad to keep that closed. And you see why I love this collection. Look at the red and the blue really go well together. So this first page I've decorated, this was from the KaiserCrafts, again just to put it on the back of that envelope. And we always do a Christmas photo to send back with our Christmas cards to the UK. So this is the one we did this year. This was just in our front garden. Of course, we always include our little dog. He's the most special member of our family, and he's got a little reindeer costume on here. So that is this year's photo, so that's a bit of a spoiler alert for any family watching back home and friends. And again, fussy cut out from the collection all these little parcels, so that's a nice little trim at the bottom of that. The 6x6 sheets were not double-sided, so I have made them double-sided. I've glued them all together so they're quite thick. And this year I intentionally wanted different size pages. So last year they were all exactly the same. This year I've gone for completely random ones. And this is where I will start to do my day 1, day 2 and so on. Now what I will say is part of this, last year I also got all my numbers ready to go as part of my prep. This year I've got this KaiserCraft sheet Same one as I used last year. It's got white numbers on, and I will do the same thing. I will cut out from scrap pieces of paper little circles and stick them on. The problem that I went wrong last year is I created all of these and they didn't really match up each of the pages to make sure that it was a different kind of background paper. So I will do that as I go. So these are obviously for documenting. This was a fail, but it did make it into the book. I actually bought some of this deco foil because I ran out of silver foil, and it did not transfer at all. It made a nice little impression with my foil quill, but it didn't burnish it at all on the paper. So I thought, rather than waste that sheet, I'll cut it out and have it as a little decoration on one of my pages. That was just a design from Cricket Design Studio as well, a free one. As you can see, these gorgeous papers in the collection. And then we move on to another one. So this is part of the Uniquely Creative kit that you saw at the beginning, the Ho Ho Ho. I just used the outline of it. I've got some of the scrapbook.com double-sided adhesive underneath, and hopefully you can see that kind of shimmer. I've got some glitter underneath that just to help make it pop. So I really like that effect. So I've made use of both the negative, positive spaces on that. I've got some little, this tulle, I guess it's called, glittery tulle in between. And again, this was a KaiserCraft sheet. Now here I've got a Sizzix, what are they called? Let me grab them. Oh, it's just a dome, shaker dome. This is about 4" I would say. And I've just used one of the Sizzix dies as well, just to cut that out. And this is the Stamp Spot sequin mix that I was telling you about. Oh, gorgeous is that. Fits perfectly with this collection. There's reds, the blues, the silvers, and I wish you could see all of the details, because there's stars, there's love hearts, there's, you know, all kinds of little goodies inside that. So I needed that in a little dome so you can see full use of it. It's beautiful. And moving on to another filler page. Again, this was from a cut apart sheet from KaiserCraft, just decorated. And there's the back side of that. That was just a stencil I made from a cut file. I think it was a scrapbook.com cut file that I made into a stencil. And then I have just used, what did I use? Let me grab it. The Creative FX from Vicky Bouton. This is silver glaze that I used to feed that through the stencil. Another page that I made here. This was the silver foil. Finally got something to work, and I used glossy accents to fill in the gaps on that as well. And then I just used a border punch to make a nice little decorative edge, and some liquid pearls as well, just to put a little bit more decoration on. Hopefully you can see that on the camera. I really like that. It's one of my favourite pages actually. I had a lot of fun making that. The other one of my favourite pages is this one. So this is where I'm using a lot more of the sequins. Now I decided to use an old page protector. This is a 6x4. And rather than worry about fusing the top, I was just too lazy to get the fuse tool out. I decided to stitch all the way around, just to keep them enclosed. And although you can't see it, I did also do some stitching in the centre, because I knew I was going to cover it up with these little sheets. And it was just to stop the sequins falling behind more than anything. What I didn't think about though is the 6x4 wasn't quite the right size for these holes, so I should have used a bigger one. So it doesn't fit quite right, but I still love it, and I'm still glad it's part of my December daily this year, because I just love looking at that sequin mix. It's beautiful. More filler pages. Now this was an idea I actually got from Christina Werner. I've been watching her Christmas card series. She always selects the stamps for the envelopes very carefully. It always makes it gorgeous, and there were so many little stamps in this kit, either on the fussy cut sheets or within the creative cuts, that I thought I will just do a collage as well, just a page full of stamps. And of course this is where the sequins come in again, and just some glitter around the edges. Now on the back of that I've made like this little tag, and what I've actually done is included like a Christmas card list here as well on that. So everybody that I've sent Christmas cards to this year, I've just made a little note on the back. This was a stamp, again might not be very clear. I embossed it in a clear crystal with this fine, and then I just used the distressed oxide, the tumbler glass, to go over that. And then I also finished it off with some distress glaze as well, just to seal it in. But that's a nice, again, nice little filler page that I think, and probably again nearer the time I'll be finishing off that with some stitching, but I don't want to do that until this page is full, because I don't know where I'm going to put the stitching. So That's kind of a work in progress page, but I do like that messy effect. So I've got heaps of these still as well that I can fussy cut out for the pages just to bring them all together. Little envelope on this page, not sure what I'll use that for yet, but I'm sure it will get used. And then this is my last page, so you can see some stitching here. I'm not worried about that. It's because of my back page. Again, I've got this little mesh glittery tulle covering this piece of paper and the sentiment. And yeah, I've made a bit of a mess, haven't I, with the stitching, but it's fine. I will do probably a full-size picture on here, 6x8 photo, so that will get covered up once I finish the final page of my album. And that is my album more or less prepped and all done. I had a lot of fun. Every year it gets a little bit easier because I get in my groove with knowing what I want to do and what I want to try in there. And if you didn't see my video yesterday where I talked about last year, I'll share some tips with you again. The main thing that I've got is every day just make sure you do your journaling. Photographs you can catch up, or if you forget to do photographs, it's not a big deal. There's always something you can decorate your album with, but the journaling is the main thing, and I really think that's the most special part as well. When I look back on my albums, I love to see what we've done no matter how mundane it was. So that is my album. Before you go, I wanted you to see some of my fails. So as I mentioned at the beginning, I've actually got 3 pages that I tried to do that did not work out the way they should, so I'll share them with you now. My first one, which was with the Christmas tree stencil you saw, look, it all went green. This happened last year. This happened last year, but not as green. And as you can tell, it did work eventually. I did have a really good clean of that stencil and it turned out right. And I have to say, I love this colour of green for Christmas trees. It's just the fact that I don't like it with the blue paper. So it won't go to waste. I'll find a way to use it somehow, but didn't make the cut for the album. So that was page number 1. That was a bit of a fail. Page number 2 was me trying to use my etch quill on acetate. Yeah, I'm trying to move this around and hopefully you can see. So this again, this design was from Cricut Access, and it just says Merry Christmas with lots of baubles and stars and things surrounding it. And then I finish it off with these perfect pearls. But it just washes out in the album. You can't see it, it's just a bit of a mess. I will still do some kind of acetate in my album because I always love to have some acetate, but not this particular one. So this was a bit of a shame because I really like that design and I think it would have gone really nice in the album, but yep, that did not make the cut. And then the last one, the one that I almost cried about because of the amount of wasted sequins. Look at it, and I tried twice to fix it. So I started with an acetate sheet, as you can see, and I have this Christmas tree stencil which you can just about make out, and I've padded all my sequins down. I really wanted a sequin tree, but you just could not tell it was a sequin tree. Then I decided to use a double-sided adhesive from scrapbook.com, fill it with glitter to try and hopefully block it out. Again, it looks a mess. So this is not gonna make the grade. And look, from the back, it's even worse. And look, the mess it makes. The glitter, the sequins, it goes everywhere. I will be picking these off because I'm not letting these sequins go to waste. And I will be reusing them. All I've wasted really is that double-sided adhesive. So I did try my best to make it work. And I thought it was a pretty good idea, if I say so myself. I would love to have had a sequined tree in the middle of my album, but I'm going to give up on that idea for now. And yeah, I'll probably do an acetate sheet actually cut in the shape of a tree instead, and then maybe just use some glitter as well to make it sparkle on both sides. But yeah, I thought I would show you my fails because, you know, not everything we do turns out right, and I don't want you to make the same mistakes that I did. So that is my December daily plan for 2020. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got some ideas out of it. I'm loving watching everyone else's December daily foundation videos. I've certainly got a lot of ideas from them. But whatever you decide to do this year, make it a good one, have a safe one, look after yourself, and I will see you next week. Thanks for watching.